If you're an American currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really messed you up?
So I'm an American and I live in Norway right now. And one time I was going to help my friend with this project that she had, and this girl was still in high school. And so she was like, yeah, just come to my high school. You can help me out, yada, yada, yada. I was like, great. Where do I have to sign in when I get there? Do I need to wear a visitor's badge? Who do I talk to? What should I tell the front desk lady? She was like, what are you talking about? Just walk in and I'll meet you at my classroom. And my mind was blown. I was like, I can just walk into your school? Like, no, aren't they gonna call the police? Aren't they gonna send out an intruder alert? Like, I can't just walk into your high school and just walk straight to your classroom. No. Then I realized just how messed up it is that American high schoolers are like security prisons.
This is just from studying abroad in the UK. We were at a public train station and you had to pay to use the bathroom, and I had never seen that before. And I was like, oh my God, that's like messed up, right? They were like, yeah, but we don't pay for healthcare or college. Stop yelling.
So when I was a teenager, I went out of the country one time to go on vacation to the Bahamas, and we were staying at this resort, and shit happened. I caught a virus that was going around the resort, and then I had an allergic reaction to the virus, and I couldn't really breathe. But the on-site paramedic had already left for the day, so the hotel concierge took us to the hospital in his van and just told us to call when we were ready to head back. So we go to the hospital, I get treated, and as we're leaving, my mom tries to give them her insurance card, and she's telling them, like, I'm so sorry, we've never been out of the country before, I don't know how to do this. They told her, like, oh no, you just keep that, we don't take insurance here. And the look on my mom's face was terrified, like, oh my God, we're gonna have to sell our house, terrified. This was when they realized we were Americans, and they were like, oh no, don't panic, you must be American, we have universal health care here, you just need to pick up your medicine in the lobby, you're fine. The medicine was $8, and they gave me a note to give to the airline to get back into my own country.
Okay, I love this question. I actually don't live abroad right now, but I spent basically most of my 20s living abroad, and for 6 of those years I was living in the UK, and in my first professional job, you could say there, this one time I got really sick and I was feeling really unwell, and I was like, I had 5 weeks of leave, and I really had assumed that must have been like my sick and my vacation time in one, because 5 weeks is so much time relative to American standards. And I was really sick, and I was like, and then I was like, but honestly, I don't want to use up my sick time. And my boss was like, what are you talking about? If you're sick, you're just sick. And I was like, but I only have I don't want to use my time. And she was like, no, you're just sick. And I was like, wait, holy shit, really?
I went to uni in the UK and I still live there, so I've got a ton of these. Probably the first that comes to mind is when first year I realized I was picking my seats in lectures about where I could be protected in case someone came in and started shooting. And I brought it up with my group of friends, which had Americans, non-Americans, and all my American friends were like, oh yeah, I'm also terrified of someone coming in and taking us out in a mass shooting. And of course, none of all of the non-Americans were like, what the f-? Never been worried about that. And yeah, they shouldn't be.
Did y'all know that in other countries, they can go to the pharmacy and actually get what they need? I live in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia right now, and I went to the pharmacist and I was like, hi, I think I gotta have a UTI. Do you have any pain medicine, any cranberry? And she's like, why don't I just give you antibiotic? And I was like, then I go back and I'm like, hi, I'm going to South Africa next week, on safari, any good, mosquito repellent? And she's like, girl, you want anti-malarials? And then I get bold with it, right? I go in there, on another occasion, and I'm like, I'm back, I'm waiting for my birth control to come from the US. It's taking a while, prescriptions and doctors and all that. And she literally threw the birth control at me. Amazing.
So I have a really embarrassing one. It was my first time getting pulled over by a German police officer. When the cop walked to my vehicle, I was like, why'd you pull me over? Geez, I can't get a break anywhere I go. Is it because I'm black? Then the police officer looked at me very calmly and was like, bro, in Germany, we do random traffic stops. Not only that, he also educated me on everything you need in a vehicle for a random traffic stop. After that, he didn't even do the random traffic stop. He just walked away and said, have a nice day. Very respectful. After he left, I just sat there dumbfounded and I was like, wow, in America, I'm so used to getting pulled over for being black for no reason. And it really changed my whole attitude towards police officers out here in Germany. Yeah, so super ignorant moment for me that I definitely learned from.
Right then, that's your repeat medication all sorted. Oh, great. Now you're nearly 25, so you should probably come back in soon to get a cervical screening test. Oh, sure. And here's some info about IUDs since you were asking about those. Okay, and what's like a ballpark for how much all of this costs? Like 500, 1,000 pounds? It's free. Oh.
Well, besides wanting to get under a desk every time I hear like a bang noise, I had no idea what that was before I moved to Australia.
Oh, yeah. I'm an American living in Canada here since 2007. When I went to school, my schools had security guards. They don't have that in my son's school. My son does not have a security guard. They used to break up fights. We used to have police called. And I mean, God, they don't have that here. And it's very reassuring that the difference of violence in schools here is uncomparable to the United States. And I wish it was better. I wish it was different for everyone back home.
So I spent about 4 years in Berlin, Germany, working in advertising. And coming from New York, where my first 8 years in the industry, I just, you don't take vacation. You just don't really do that. Well, I had to have a sit down with the CEO of my company and the head of HR, where they took my laptop and took my work phone and told me I could not come back to the office for 3 weeks because I had to use my vacation time. They were afraid that I was going to sue the company for not being allowed to take my vacation time. So they made sure that I literally could not work. Imagine that happening in the US. Someone literally taking your computer and your work phone away and say, go, come back in 3 weeks, enjoy your vacation. Honestly, Europe has a lot going for it that I wish Americans would understand.
So I've been living in Italy for about 11 years now, 12 years. And I moved here to be with my husband. And in the US, I got my tubes tied after my third child and decided I didn't want any more, but he didn't have any, so we decided to do IVF, and I got pregnant with twins. At 13 weeks, I lost one, and once I lost that child, they considered me a high-risk pregnancy and took me off work from that moment on until 3 months after she was born, and I was paid 100% of my check. 100% of my check. And then until she was 1, I got to come home 2 hours a day to breastfeed her. 100% paid.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Okay, kids, this one's for me. This one is for me. I'm literally about to go to sleep right now, but I saw this and I have to respond right now. So much so that this might become a series. So, part 1. I lived in Galway, Ireland for a year, all of 2020. Yes, all of 2020. I come from the backwoods of Wisconsin, where shooting squirrels off of your trees is a fun afternoon activity. Fireworks rarely happen in Ireland. It was Halloween night. I heard pops in the sky. My first reaction was, who's shooting? Obviously, no one was shooting a gun. My neighbors were celebrating Samhain, the Irish tradition of Halloween. Come back for part 2. I have so much more to tell you. Bye.
So I started my new job in the Netherlands. This was 3 years ago, and I was going through the company policy the first week. And I got to the section about leave, and they have a holiday leave, like PTO, and then they had sick leave in 2 different areas. And I was reading about sick leave, and I turned to my coworker, and I was like, I don't understand, like, it talks about, like, the requirements for sick leave and, like, doctor notes, like, after 3 days, but how many sick days do we get a year? And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, how many are there? It doesn't say. She's like, it's just, if you're sick, you're out. I'm like, I don't understand. She's like, it's unlimited. It's just, if you're sick, you take a sick day. She was confused. I was shocked. There's a moment I realized in America and how we deal with people being sick with work.